Oh, yeah. เ بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So first I would like to say Jazakallah for coming here and being a part of this blessed gathering. where we have some of our guests who are obviously joining us. You know who they are. So before we begin, let's begin with the name of Allah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wal aqibatu lil muttaqeen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulih kareem. So we have our guests behind the curtain. So let's give them a warm welcome, inshallah, to Brother Jalal and Emre. So I wanted to obviously start off by a Qur'an recitation. So normally we get one of our students to do a Qur'an recitation. However, because we have our special guests here all the way from Turkey, so inshallah we will have one of them do the Qur'an recitation, and then we'll introduce our madrasa very briefly, and we will go straight back to our guests again. So we're not going to take too much time. We also have Dr. Yahya Nurbat, who's going to talk very briefly, about 5 minutes or so, about the Ottoman Empire. And then after that, we're going to have Brother Jalal over here. You may know him as Abdur Rahman. And we have Emre over here, who you'll know as the young Uthman, right? Brother Abdur Rahman, are you ready to take it away?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والضحى والليل إذا سجى ما ودعك ربك وما قلى وللآخرة خير لك من الأولى ولسوف يعطيك ربك فترضى ألم يجدك يتيما فآوى ووجدك ضالا فهدى ووجدك عائلا فأغنى فأما اليتيم فلا تقهر وأما السائل فلا تنهر وأما بنعمة ربك فحدث الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله والله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي رب زدني علما وفهما وألحقني بالصالحين صدق الله العظيم الفاتحة
Jazakallah khairan. Sorry about the disturbance with the mic, but I think we'll get it on. So first of all, we wanted to start by very briefly introducing our madrasa to our guests. So our madrasa is called Fatima Elizabeth Frontistery. So Frontistery basically means a place of thinking, a place of thought and reflection. Fatima Elizabeth, we've named it after a person, a lady. She was the first person in Victorian Britain, about 130 years ago, to accept Islam here. So she was a Christian. She was called Frances Elizabeth Murray, but then she accepted Islam. When she accepted Islam, it was Victorian period here under Queen Victoria, and at the same time, there was the Ottoman Empire, and they were in touch with Sultan Abdur Rahman II at the time. Her being the first female Muslim in this country, she was also very instrumental in starting and founding the very first mosque of England. So the very first mosque of England was started by pretty much two people, Abdullah William William and Fatima Elizabeth. When she became Muslim, there were not, I mean, there weren't any Muslims. There was 3 Muslims living in Liverpool at the time. When she accepted Islam, she took the Qur'an home, and her mother said, "What is that?" And she replied, "This is the Muhammadan Bible." So she didn't even know what the word Qur'an was at the time. And her mother at once wanted to take it and throw it away. She said, "Give me this book at once, so I may burn it." And she ran into her room. She locked the room, and she started reading the Quran from cover to cover. And then she became Muslim. When people found out that she became Muslim, she went from Frances to Fatima. She was taken down, she was beaten up. They got a horse's manure from the floor, so there were no cars at the time, and they wiped it all over her. They used to throw stones at her. They used to throw old vegetable at her. But she went on, she went beyond that, and she continued as a Muslim. And the very first mosque on the British Isles or in England was based in Liverpool, and she was very instrumental in doing that. So we were inspired by her story, her struggle, her sacrifice. She died young. She died at the age of 35, only leaving one son behind. So our madrasa, Fatima Elizabeth, is pretty much named after her. She lived 120 years ago in England, or more specifically in Liverpool. So that was just a bit about us. So we have various different things that we do. Something that we started now is actually Ottoman archery. So we're going to start teaching our students from next month. So they'll be doing the thumb release, inshallah, which we will have a go at later on, inshallah. So what we would like to do now is give you a very brief overview, or just a few words from Dr. Yahya Nurkat. He's just completed his PhD from Cambridge University, and he's done his PhD on the Ottoman Empire. So he'll be talking about that as well. He's done many things like that, but I think his one of the things that we really admire from him is that he was a teacher at Fatima Elizabeth Frontistery before he started his PhD. So inshallah, can we give a warm welcome to Dr. Yahya, inshallah.
I've just walked on with my outfit and my bodyguard. So, okay. First of all, can you hear me at the back? So, Ustad Hamid, thank you for calling me over to speak. And don't worry, I won't be speaking for too long. So, first of all, the greeting to our guests. Selamlar, merhabalar herkese. Özellikle Celal ve Emre Beylere hoş geldiniz, sefalar getirdiniz. Now back to English. So,
Good Turkish, mashallah.
teşekkür ederim.
Good translation.
So, I was reflecting on the way here, on the reason why we were all motivated to take time out of our precious, busy Saturdays in order to attend this event. What is special about Diriliş Ertuğrul? What sets it apart? And as a historian, I can tell you, it's not about historical accuracy. Just a silence there. Other people have argued that Diriliş Ertuğrul as a show says more about contemporary Turkish politics than the Ottoman past, or that it reflects contemporary ideals about the past more than historical reality. But I would argue that these things are true for any historical production. The clue is in the title, Diriliş, meaning resurrection or revival. Ertugrul is one of the series, one of the first cultural productions to endow Muslims across the world, from Egypt to Pakistan, from England to Australia, with a sense of pride about their past. Here is a show that Muslim parents could watch with their children, without having to worry about changing the channel, or without having to worry that the only Muslim character, surprise, surprise, turns out to be a terrorist or an extremist, or even worse, is going through some kind of deep identity crisis. I would say that the real terrorists are the consistently Orientalist depictions of Muslims on Western TV. The show also has a great deal of contemporary relevance. Ertugrul has positive role models, both male and female, young adults, and even children, as we see in the character of Osman Bey. This is especially relevant in a time when masculinity is considered to be in a state of crisis, Muslim masculinity especially. But in the show, Muslim men are depicted as strong in body and character, skilled in a variety of arts and disciplines, and comfortable in the company of strong female characters. Muslim women are depicted as leaders, warriors, heroes, and even villains. And yes, I'm talking about Sultan, who was both hero and villain. Here is another reason why Muslim men, women, and children have connected to the show. As much as the show helps us feel pride about our past, it is important that this extends beyond an empty sense of nostalgia and instead gives us the vision and motivation to impact our environments in a positive way. One practical way is to engage deeply and meaningfully with our history, Ottoman or otherwise. As an Islamic discipline, history is supposed to give us lessons about the past, but not just positive lessons. Instead, if we think of the approach of Ibn Khaldun, one of the great scholars and thinkers of Muslim civilization, history should move us and provoke us. The current state of Muslim history writing is poor in terms of both quality and quantity, and too often we descend into sound bites, and we still feel uncomfortable to engage critically with our past. But now to return to a more positive note, and a positive note on which I'll end. Even if we know little about the historic Ertugrul, we know that he held just one of many competing beyliks, or small tribal principalities, in the landscape of Western Anatolia. The state around them, the Seljuk state, was collapsing in on itself as a result of Mongol incursions. But out of the ashes of this difficult state of affairs, and by sticking true to their values and drawing inspiration from our great tradition, emerged an empire spanning much of Southeastern Europe, Western Asia, and Northern Africa for over 500 years. Now, I'll end here. I know you've all come to see our friends Jalal and Emre, or Abdur Rahman and Osman, as you know them, and definitely not to see or hear me. So enjoy the rest of the event, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Jazakallahu khairan. So now we're moving over to our guests, inshallah. We wanted to keep it a free flow, so it's basically a discussion with the audience. What we will do, there's going to be two things. We are going to have a fundraiser in between. After that, we are going to have all the time to do Q&A. For the Q&A, the way we've decided to do it, in about a few minutes, we'll start Mohsin, who's back there directing our PowerPoints. He will put a link on the PowerPoint. Whenever you would like to ask a question, just go onto that link, put the question up, and everyone else will also be able to see that format online. If you like certain questions that are already there from the audience, you can give it a like, and it will go up in priority. So we decided to do it this way rather than to and fro from the audience, just because we have little time, and just so that we can get more questions in, inshallah. And if we can finish aptly on time, then we will have a picture opportunity, but we have a very stringent, strict procedure for that, inshallah. Okay. Right. So now I think we'll start off with Brother Jeddah, and then Emre, whenever you would like to talk as well, you're more than welcome to do that. They will tell us about their experiences, their stories, how they got into this, maybe some stories from the set, and we'll leave it to them, inshallah. Okay.
Eyvallah. Biz burada şu anda iki oyuncuyuz. Şu anda okçuluğu merkezindeyiz. Ve
Just keep it like this. And then
Okay. Okay. Ve okçuluğun piri de yanımızda Osman Bey. Ve dinimiz İslam'da hep gençlere teşvik veriyor. Bence ilk kardeşim konusu aynı zamanda benim beyim kendisi. Sonra ben devam edeyim.
You said welcome everybody. Thank you for being here. We're here where the bow and arrow trainings take place, right? And we've got the expert here, so thanks, Emre. And he's also my bae, so I'm going to pass it over to him first, and then I'll take over.
Selamünaleyküm. Öncelikle beni buraya davet ettiğiniz için çok teşekkür ederim.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Ses sound geliyor mu arkaya ses? Bakayım.
Can you hear us out
Arkadaki
there?
duyuyor mu arkadakiler?
Ses şimdi geliyor mu?
Yok şu an gitti.
Yeah, if we just share the same mic, that might be better. Just share the mic.
Şimdi geliyor mu? Evet, çok güzel. Öncelikle buraya davet ettiğiniz için teşekkür ederim. Ben Amerika ses
It's okay, just talk like this. They can hear you.
Şimdi geliyor. Evet.
Evet.
Eyvallah. Çok teşekkür ederim. Ben Allah'a şükür Osman'ı oynamaya çalıştım. Elimden gelenin en iyisini yapmaya çalıştım. Ve bu işin en güzel tarafı da bu şekilde programlara gitmek oldu. Amerika'da da olsun, İngiltere'de, Birleşik Devletler'de de olsun. En güzel tarafı dünyanın birçok yerinden gençlerle, benim yaşımdakilerle karşılaşmak oldu.
He said, thank you very much for inviting me here. Alhamdulillah, I did get to play the young Osman in the series. It's been a great experience for me, and that experience has led me to go around the world, meet fans and everyone who's watched the series. It's been great to see everyone's feedback and get to know everyone, not every other, but more young people around the world as well, who's around my age and who's listening as well and has watched this series.
Ve tabii ki bildiğimiz üzere ben bunu asla tek başıma yapamazdım. Benim büyüklerim olmasaydı ben bugün bu noktaya gelemezdim. Dolayısıyla büyük abilerimden, ablalarımdan diyeceğim de tabii ki onlar küçüklerine çok dikkatli davranıyorlar. Ama ben bugün buradaysam önce Allah'ın sonra da ailemin yardımıyladır. Dolayısıyla bu şekilde düşündüğümüz zaman büyüklerin küçüklere olan etkisini görebiliyoruz. Tamam.
Can you hear me well?
Yeah.
Okay. So he said, I'm here today because of my elders. His father is his coach, his father and his manager. He said, as elders, I'm sure that you are looking after your young ones and supporting them as much as you can. But just know that the future is in their hands. So the more you support them and the more you help them, the more you're there for them. That's how it should be, and support whatever they want to do.
Dolayısıyla ben bugün buraya sizden yani büyüklerimden bir rica istemeye geldim.
I've come to ask here for a request from my elders here.
Çünkü ben Diriliş Ertuğrul'dayken o profesyonel oyuncular Ertuğrul, Abdur Rahman abi, Celal abi yönetmenlerimiz bana o kadar iyi davrandılar ki yani yoluma engel olmadılar. Daha da doğrusu yoluma yardımcı oldular. Daha hızlı gitmemi sağladılar.
So my request is, for example, my elders like Jalal who's played Abdur Rahman and Engin Altan who's played Ertugrul, and all the other elders that he's played with. They've always been there to support him, guide him, coach him to an extent as well, and open the ways for him rather than stopping him rather than stopping a young star. They've actually opened the pathways for him and given him all the advice. So as elders, please do that for the younger generation.
Dolayısıyla ben bugün burada onların yardımını simgeliyorum.
Therefore, I'm here just to prove that with their help, this is why I'm here.
Bu yüzden de buradaki hocalarıma, büyük abilerime, eğitim veren herkese çok teşekkür ederim.
So I'd like to say thank you to all the coaches, teachers, hodges who are helping the young generation now.
İnşallah İslam sizlerin yardımıyla gençlerimizin de bizlerin de uğraşıyla yükselecek.
And inshallah, with your help, Islam will get better and better with the elders' help and to the new generation.
Teşekkür ederim.
Thank you.
Selamünaleyküm. Şimdi size bakarken kendi kendime şöyle bir düşünüyorum.
So I'm looking at you and I'm just thinking to myself,
Kim derdi ki
who would have
inşaat işçisi elleri nasıl yaralı. Mustafa Usta'nın oğlu Celal İngiltere'ye gelecek, Müslüman kardeşleriyle dertleşecek, konuşacak.
who would have said that the construction worker, the labour worker with all these scars in his hand, the Mustafa who has a son named Jalal would be here in the UK speaking to everybody today.
Elhamdülillah. İşte inanmak ve dava aşkıyla bütün zorluklara sabret. Bütün parolu.
So this is the love of dawah, the believing in yourself, believing in the dawah, and that's the power where it brings you.
Davam tek Allah-u Teala'nın dini olan Kur'an-ı Kerim, İslam'a ve Kur'an-ı Kerim'e, Hz. Muhammed'e hizmetkar olmak, hizmet edin.
And there's only one dawah, which is Islam, to Allah's Quran, Allah's book, and to be to be like a slave to Islam.
Aşağıda bir set çevirisi ya. Ve elhamdülillah inşallah Allah'ın davasına hizmet etmeye çalışıyorum. Hizmet ediyorum dersem kibre girerim. Hizmet ettiğimi düşünmüyorum. Hizmet etmeye çalışıyorum. Kardeşimle aynı şekilde. Ve elhamdülillah Allah bizleri bereketlendiriyor, güzelleştiriyor. Siz pırıl pırıl gözlerinden böyle yani mutluluk saçan çocuklar karşısına çıkar. Elhamdülillah.
I'm here today, not to say that I'm the best or what I do. I am a slave as well, just like everyone else is the slave of Allah basically. And it's just great to see the sparkle in the eyes of all the young, the youth, the baby, the children.
Ve çok şükür artık Diriliş Ertuğrul, Kuruluş Osman, Abdülhamit, Uyanış Selçuklu, Alparslan ve daha nice yeni projelerle siz gençler İslam tarihini, ümmetin birliğini İnşallah yeniden kurmak için bu dizilerin etkisiyle yeniden güçlü Müslüman olmanın gayreti içerisinde olacaksınız.
And with Allah's help and praise to Allah, with the series that we've had, Diriliş Ertugrul, Diriliş Osman, Alparslan, Selçuklu, Abdur Rahman, these things have been helping the youth, the young, everybody from young to old, to revive Islam, revive our religion, and make it stronger and more united.
Siz çocukların babaları, veliler sizlere sesleniyorum.
Parents, parenting guidance is on.
Bu sorum, şu anki sorum size.
I'm going to ask you a question now.
Sizin gençliğinizde
In your
İslam
youth,
dünyasında etkili olan Diriliş gibi diziler var mıydı?
were there any dramas in your youth that you would have said, yeah, this is a great drama for representing Islam?
Ve İslamiyet'i bir şekilde zor öğreniyordunuz değil mi? Diziler ne kadar kolay bir şey.
Dramas were quite easy, but I'm sure you were struggling to learn Islam in those ages.
İşte artık zaman medya zamanı.
And now it's the time of media,
Artık zaman uzay çağı.
it's time of space.
Ve inşallah İslami manada insanlara güzel bir şeyler anlatmanın en önemli yollarından birisi de diziler, sinema, tiyatro.
And in these days and times, the best way to explain Islam and portray Islam to people is media, through media like theatre, cinemas, dramas, series.
20-30 sene önce neredeyse inançlı insan yok gibiydi bu sektörde. Ama artık var. Her gün sayıları artıyor.
20-30 years ago, you wouldn't have come across many people who are believing, practicing, pious in this sector, in the media sector.
Ama artıyor. Her birinizi Allah'ın izniyle bu camiada olmak için gayret sarf etmenizi rica ediyorum.
And
Çocuklar.
and the kids, the youth, I'm actually welcoming you and inviting you to come into this sector, into the media sector more, so that we can have more pious and practicing kids.
Ama önce kendiniz yaşayacaksınız İslamiyet'i.
But first, you need to live Islam yourself.
Ve çevrenizdeki Müslüman olmayan arkadaşlarınıza, dostlarınıza da güzel bir örnek olacaksınız.
And be a
Huzurun
good
İslam'dan
example.
olduğunu görmeliler.
And be a good example to the non-Muslims around you, to your friends, family, just so that they can see that Islam is actually a religion of peace.
Aranızda Müslüman olmayan arkadaşımız var mı?
Are there any
Misafirimiz.
non-Muslim guests here?
Yok galiba.
We have many new Muslim guests here. Maybe if you want to get their hands.
Maşallah.
Do we have any recent converts, reverts amongst us?
Any new Muslims? If you get your hands right up, inshallah.
Maşallah. Ve yeni Müslüman olanları alkışlayalım lütfen.
Let's have a round of applause to the new brothers and sisters.
Welcome. Siz yaşarsanız işte görüyorsunuz. İnsanlar bu huzuru, mutluluğu istiyor. Çok güzel bir şey.
If you live your religion that way, then these new people would actually join you more.
Ben sizin huzurunuzda saygıyla eğiliyorum.
And I'm going down to the new brothers and sisters.
Allah bilesin. Allah
God
razı olsun.
bless you.
Eyvallah.
So, do you have any advice for, say, young Muslims who are living in the West, and there are a lot of ideas that are always opposed to Islam? So, do you have any advice for them?
Estağfurullah. Kalkabilir miyim? Estağfurullah. Evet ya. Allah Allah sütten kalkalım. Bismillah. Kardeşler.
Brothers and sisters.
Gençler.
Young lot.
Çocuklar.
Kids.
Ben gidiyorum aşağı.
I'm scared I'm going away.
Ne Abdur Rahman Celal? Bak kılıçlarım yanımda yok.
I'm Abdur Rahman and Osman. I don't have my small business.
Noyan değil, Abdur Rahman.
Yes, doyan değil.
It's not my it's Abdur Rahman.
Şimdi güzel kardeşlerim. Benim de 2 tane çocuğum var.
My beautiful sisters, brothers, I've got 2 beautiful children as well.
Ben şöyle söyleyeyim. İnşallah ben de çocuklarımı sizler gibi pırıl pırıl Müslüman yetiştirebilirim.
What my wish is, my children is for me to raise my kids as beautiful, pious Muslims.
Batı'da yaşayan kardeşlerime benim en büyük tavsiyem şu.
My biggest advice to our Muslims living in the West,
Lütfen nereden geldiğinizi unutmayın.
please don't forget where you come from.
Yani örnek veriyorum.
For example,
Aranızda Pakistan var mı?
is there any Pakistanis amongst you?
India,
India,
Bangladeş,
Bangladesh,
Arabik,
Arab,
Afgan.
any other?
Peki, çok basit bir soru soracağım.
I'm going to ask a basic question.
Dedelerinizin mezarı nerede?
Where are your granddad's graves?
India, Pakistan, Bangladeş değil mi? O zaman en önemli olan birinci basamak şu.
So the most important first step is this.
Sizler dedelerinizin torunlarısınız. Ben Ertuğrul Gazi'nin torunu.
I'm a grandchild of Ertugrul Ghazi, and you are the grandchild of your own grandparents.
Ve sizler Müslüman olan dedelerinizin torunlarısınız. Onların izinden çıkmayın.
And you're the grandchildren of your grandparents, your granddads, the Muslim grandchildren. So don't come out of their path. Don't leave their path.
Batıda olun ama yönünüz doğuda olsun.
Be in the West, but your path should be in the East.
Aranızda dedelerinizin veya dedelerin mezarlarını ziyaret edenler var mı?
Are there anyone amongst you who visit your grandparents' graves?
Yes.
Maşallah. Mümkün olduğunca büyüklerinizin mezarlarına gidin.
As much as you can, go to your elderly's graveyard.
Peygamber Efendimiz sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem mutlaka kabir ziyaretini yapın.
Our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whatever you do, make sure you do visit.
Benim gençlere en büyük ricam bu. Siz neyseniz osunuz. Sakın özenmeyin.
You are who you are, so do not get influenced.
Yani olduğunuzda gurur duyun.
So be proud of who you are.
Ben ve kardeşim birçok dünya ülkesine gidiyoruz söyleşilere, programlara.
Me and my brother here, remember, we go around the world a lot with these to visit and these sort of programs.
Her yer çok güzel. Allah çok güzel yaratmış.
Allah has created everywhere so beautifully, it's so beautiful everywhere.
Ama ben Türk'üm.
But I'm Turkish.
Yani Türkiye'ye bağımı koparamam.
I can't get rid of my connection with Turkey. I'm a Turk.
Her birinizin geldiği yerler belli. O açıdan burada çalışın, okuyun, edin ama yarın kendi ülkelerinize faydalı olacak bireyler olun.
So no matter what you do, even if you're working, studying, living here, just do what you can where it will be beneficial to where you come from.
Çok mu daraldınız? Çok mu sıkıştınız? Çok mu moraliniz bozuk? Açın Kur'an-ı Kerim okuyun.
If you're going through any hardship, if you're going through any stress, if you're feeling down, overwhelmed, just open the Quran and read the book.
Ben işçi Mustafa'nın oğluyum.
I'm the labor worker Mustafa's son.
Ben Allah'ın yardımıyla ve çalışarak köyden çıktım. Köy gibi yerden çıktım ve karşınızdayım.
With the help of Allah and working really hard, I've come from a village. I've managed to leave a village and here I am in front of you.
Buralara gelmemin en büyük sırrı ne biliyor musunuz?
And the biggest secret that has brought me here is
Elhamdülillah. Namazlarımı kılmaya çalışmam.
I did whatever I can to pray and keep to my salah.
Namazları terk etmeyin.
Don't abandon your salah.
Bakın Allah namazı terk etmeyin diyor. Yani Allah bana sırt çevirmeyin diyor.
Allah says, don't abandon your salah. Don't turn against me.
Çocuklar siz annenize, babanıza sırt çevirirseniz anneniz, babanız size yakın olur mu?
If you turn your back against your parents while you're young, then would your parents be there for you?
Peki Allah'ı düşünün. Allah'a sırt çevirirsek Allah'tan uzaklaşmaz mıyız?
And if you think of it from Allah's perspective, if you were to turn against Allah, then would Allah go against you?
Annemiz, babamız sırt çevirdiğimiz zaman kızar bize değil mi?
When our parents or father or mother, when we're going against them or turning our back against them, don't they have a go at us?
Ama Allah kızmıyor. Diyor ki o gene hatasını anlar, dönüş yapar, namazını kılar.
Allah doesn't get angry. He says, "It's okay. I'm going to wait. He's going to come back to me."
Unutmayın. Sizler Müslüman aleminin umudusunuz.
Don't forget that you're the future hope of Islam.
Sinema, televizyon, tiyatro, medya, yönetmenlik, senaristlik artık Müslümanlar olmalı. Müslümanların da kendine ait bir Hollywood olmalı.
Muslims should also have their own Hollywood. We should have directors, scenarists in theatre, cinema, movies, series.
Ve inşallah ben inanıyorum ki İslami eğitimini çok iyi almış, temelini çok güzel almış olan gençlerimiz dünyanın en güçlü Müslüman liderleri olur.
And the children, the youth here today, the ones that are reading and studying Islam really well, who's got the really good basic roots, then I'm sure in the future there will be really great Muslim leaders.
Son bir örnekle bitiriyorum.
I'm going to leave it with one example.
Kıymetli aileler. Kıymetli aileler. Şimdi bir paper var mı kağıt? Paper.
Yeah, you take that orange paper off.
Thank you.
There you go.
Şimdi bu kağıt. Okay? Bu kağıdın üstüne ben yazı yazıyorum.
This is a paper that I write on.
Yazdım. Sonra ben bunu katlıyorum.
I'm going to hold it.
Katladım.
Hold it.
Farz edelim bu şişe büyük.
Let's assume this bottle's big,
Bunu bunun içine koydum.
and I put this inside the bottle.
İçinde su yok, sadece kağıt var.
There's no water, it's just a bottle.
Kapağını kapattım.
Shut the bottle lid
İyice sıktım.
and tightened it.
Şimdi bu kağıt bembeyaz olan sizin kalbiniz.
So this paper, it is orange, ignore that bit, but it's white, imagine it's white, and that is your heart, that's your pure heart.
Buna annelerin, babaların, hocaların öğrettikleriyle bütün o dini bilgileri buraya aktarıyoruz.
So everything that you learn from your elders, your parents, teachers, hujjas, that's where we put it in. We put it into your heart. So,
Yani ilk eğitimini çok iyi verdik.
so we've given the first training really well.
Sonra kalbini, o imanını sağlamlaştırdık ve kalbini güzelce kapattık.
And then we've made the iman stronger in their heart, and then we closed the lid and tightened it.
Bunu alın, denizin ortasına atın.
And get this and chuck it in the middle of the ocean.
Ne olur?
What would happen?
Dalga vurur, savurur, eder. Ama sonunda kıyıya gelir değil mi?
The wave would come, hit it, and go from one place to another, but eventually it will find itself in the shore.
Kapağını açarsınız,
You'll open the lid,
bakarsınız, açarsınız ki kağıt duruyor.
you'll open the lid and find that the paper's still in there.
Eğer siz kalbini, o kapak kalpli ya, eğer siz kalbini, kapağı güzelce kapatırsanız Allah'ın izniyle korkmayın. Her nereye giderse gitsin o çocuk değişmez.
If you feed them well with all the good education, and if you seal their hearts just like we seal the bottle's lid, then there's no way that child
Sallanır,
go somewhere else.
o dalga, bu dalga, o tarafa, bu tarafa ama en son kıyıya gelir.
It would go from one place to another, whatever life brings them, but eventually it will still come to the shore.
Elhamdülillah bozulmamış olarak devam et.
And alhamdulillah, it will carry on as if nothing's ever happened to it.
Her birinizin güzel gönlünden öpüyorum.
I'm giving my kisses to all of your good hearts.
So, Jazakallah for the discussion. we are going to give our guests a little bit of a break here. And we are going to talk about the fundraiser. And then we're going to come back. There's already been lots of questions coming through, which I've been having a look at. So we will take your questions. I will read them out. And then after that, we will have the Q&A from the audience, inshallah. So I'll read it from my phone. Now, before that begins, I wanted to talk about the very important objective. Obviously, our guests are here all the way from Turkey, and they're here for a very important purpose, and that is to raise money for our Muslim brothers and sisters who are fleeing from Syria and the hardships and the war in Syria. And remember, as our guests have mentioned, it doesn't really matter whether we're from Pakistan or India or Turkey. Ultimately, because we have Iman, we are all one. And that's the objective here today. So we will be raising some funds. We do have the charity here as well. We have Brother Suhail who's going to come and talk about that very, very briefly, and then we'll be back with our guests. So I just want to, you to think, and there's a story actually I wanted to tell you. Myself, about 11 years ago, I went to Damascus, so in Syria. I went to the university there to study a bit of colloquial Arabic. And then on the weekend, I decided to go, to the grave of Khalid ibn Walid, radiallahu anhu. Now, on the way, I got lost, and I found another grave, Umar bin Abdul Aziz, another big giant in the history of Islam. As soon as I came out from that mosque, I didn't know where to go. And there were 3 youngsters. They were about, I think, say, between 11 and 13. And they were just playing football outside the mosque. And I told them I was lost. And what they did, that these are 11-year-olds, 12-year-olds in Syria. Okay? And I haven't seen, such wonderful manners anywhere else. Okay? Any shop I went to, they did not take any money from me. They would give me food just like that, even though I tried to give them, tried to force it, they wouldn't take it. Outside the shop, as they were playing football, I said to them, I'm lost. They found me a taxi. And not only that, they took my phone number. And as I was on the way, after about half an hour, I received a call from one of them and said, Uncle, have you reached the area? So this is an 11-year-old, 12-year-old. And it was just about a year after that, the civil war began in Syria. Now, I don't know where those 3 children now are. Okay? I really hope that they are alive, and I hope that they are getting through this somehow. Now, even though I am thousands of miles away, I am still connected to them through the Ummah of Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. How can I help those 3 youngsters? But remember, those 3 youngsters are a reflection of all Syrians who are fleeing their land. And remember, it is a duty upon us as Muslims to support them. It is our duty. And this duty was given to us by Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam himself. Okay? So he said that the Ummah is like one body. If one part is hurting, the rest of the body is also hurting. You can't go to sleep. So if you have a toothache, your eyes stay open. You cannot go to sleep. So the question is, what are we going to do for this? Before we show you a video, which is linked to the fundraiser, and also not only the school, but there is an emergency appeal that the brothers would like to make. Before we show you the video, inshallah, Brother Muslim will be setting that up. I would like to invite one of our staff members, if she is here. She's not only Zainab Mufti, but she's also a Hafidha as well. So I would like to, if you can give a warm welcome to Ustadha Zainab Mufti. So she will give us some of her poetry.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. Sultan has asked me to be here. So Sultan has just asked me to share a few words on charity and the importance of giving. We hear it all the time, but it's something that we can hear time and time again. It's something that, reminders always work out. So if you keep your money, I'm not being funny, it's not going to help you. If you spread your money, you'll get rivers of honey. I swear it will save you. Don't think you'll be broke. I'm not telling you a joke, just saying that people need you. You'll be answering prayers. You'll be rewarded in layers of God's mercy that will engulf you. It will come in waves. It will come for days, and your money will speak for you. When you give it away, you'll see judgment day will come and it will protect you. Because God will ask those in need, who came to your aid and who took heed? Your hands will speak and say it was you. They'll say you gave when you were trying to save, but you did your job as his slave. You spared what you possessed because you knew you were blessed to even have the option to give from what you have. It may have caused you stress, but then he opened your chest and he put in it light. He allowed you to see, and so he decreed that you'd have a worshipper's sight. For a worshipper knows that this is how it goes, and this is what is right. A servant of God is fully aware that all he owns is to share, and that all deeds are seen, even the dead of night. So what do you fear that you hold your money so dear, if you know that God will give it all back? In fact, he'll increase it, will surely applaud it, and will add to your good deeds stack. For verily, goodness cannot be gained, and righteousness not attained till you spend from what you love. So give in his way, make this your day, that you rise and you grow above. You've got nothing to lose, it's not breaking news that your risk is from above. Whether you hoard it all, spend it all at the mall, or give it for the Almighty's sake, your risk will remain, it will be the same, but your risk will remain, it will be the same, but the money you spend will be your make or break. So seek his help and let your name be noted. Hear the angels as your deeds are quoted. Let the heavens speak of you and the Lord smile upon you. Let your scales be hefty and your pockets be empty. And for this we pray. Allah allow us to give today. Ameen. So we often think about what can I do as just another person in the UK? What can I do as just another man, or just another woman, just another child in the UK? Not even in the country that I'm trying to help. How can I make a difference when the politics of it all is so complicated, when I'm not at the decision-making table, I'm not a global change maker? How do we fight against oppression as just another person? First of all, I'd like to say that none of us are just another person. Not even just a child, not just a man, not just a woman. Every single one of us can make a difference. And in fact, it's our, like Ustad Hamid has already mentioned, it's our duty to believe that we can make a difference and wholeheartedly believe that Allah will allow us to make change. Even if our actions are small, even if it's a small amount of charity, that may mean that just one more person has access to another meal, or like in our scenario, one more person has another lesson or another chance at a better future, a better education, then you're still helping, right? It's our duty not to become deflated, not to give up on our ummah, or feel as though we can't make a difference, no matter what our age is. And like Asad mentioned, the hadith about ummah being one body. If we don't help our body, our ummah, who is going to step up to help us? There's the people in power now are definitely not helping us, right? If we don't step up, no one else is going to come to our aid. And our ummah is suffering, oppression is rife, but we have opportunities like today to help make that change. And we have to really, really believe. At the end of the day, Allah will make the change. But we have to believe and really fight and persevere to be agents of that change. And support causes like this school in Syria, use our voices, see it as a duty to speak out against oppression, to not lose track and try not to lose that path, because if we lose that path as Muslims, Allah will replace us with better people. Allah will replace us with people who will do the work, who will put the work in to better the ummah, who aren't so short-sighted, who have a longer, have a vision for the ummah, and who replace us with those people who have the courage to speak out. And I just like to end on saying this is most definitely a reminder for myself, first and foremost, because I need it as much as everyone. Jazakallah khair. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Now, inshallah, we're going to show you a clip that where you can get a better understanding of the emergency appeal that's taking place, which the charity thinks that they need to give a preference to, inshallah. So we're going to play the clip, and then after that, for about 5 minutes, Brother Suhail is going to talk about how you can contribute, inshallah, today, also outside as well. And we will take it from there, inshallah. Brother Mohsin, if you could play the video for us.
They open the door to my place of warmth and security. They represent my duty as a husband and father in providing a safe place for my wife and children. They open the door to my home. Alhamdulillah, we all know what our homes mean to us. But my brothers and sisters, there are millions who for over 10 years have not been able to seek refuge in the safety and security of a state home. Our Syrian brothers and sisters. As the war raged on for years, subhanallah, many have been killed, but millions more displaced. They're living in makeshift tents that cannot keep them warm against the elements. I stood in these tents and briefly experienced the difficulty that they have to face in that small and insecure place. But alhamdulillah, thanks to your donation, Zahima has provided the first set of keys to a Syrian family in our flagship project, Home for Hope. Currently, they are living in that tent over there. Out of the 4, the father passed away. They have a mother, elderly mother. 3 have mental health issues. And imagine, in the night they just walk away. You can see it's quite cold here. They don't even realize that some of them are not even wearing a cardigan. And subhanAllah, it's just the generosity of individuals who change the life of other people. Also, all our brothers and sisters who are at home watching this, subhanAllah, thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wallahi for the comfort that Allah has given us. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Inna Allah fi awni abdihi ma dama al-abd fi awni akhihi, that Allah will remain on your assistance as long as you remain in the assistance of your brothers and sisters. And then another narration, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, whoever removes the difficulty of a believer in this dunya, on that day when you will need assistance, Allah will come and remove all your difficulties. So, inshallah, I am going to give the key to the eldest brother over there. Barakallahu feekum. This home will give a place that they can call their own, a place that they can be safe and warm in. This home will change their lives, subhanAllah. But there are many more families like them that we need to help and support. For as little as £3,500, you can give them a home. And we at Zahima intend to create 20 homes for our Syrian brothers and sisters. So together with your family, make an intention and make a dua and join us. Donate now and make a life-changing difference.
Jazakallah khairan. So I'd like to invite Brother Suhail, who has come all the way from Batley to fundraise for Zahima, and he's been working with Zahima for quite some time. So can we welcome him warmly, inshallah. So Brother Suhail.
Assalamu alaikum. First and foremost, Jazakallah for all of you, Jazakallah yourself for hosting us today. I'm not going to take a lot of your time because I know that we want to move on to the question and answer session. So, firstly, all of you are here today. You know that, inshallah, Zahima is going to be building a school on the border of Syria and Turkey. Inshallah, that's a long-term project. Okay? Syrian children who live on the borders in the Turkey side, they can't go to their state schools, so they have to be given another school. So we've committed ourselves with the Turkish Ministry of Education to build 3 schools in the next 5 years. Okay, so you can donate towards that. Okay, now the reason I've come today is for this main project. Okay, now I was with Sheikh Zahir Mahmoud in that desert with all those Syrian refugees. Majority of them are homeless, living in their tents. They haven't been living in tents for like a month or 2 months. They've been living in tents since they got displaced from the Syrian war. And that's 10 years. So just imagine, 10 years, they've shifted from the Mafraq Desert in Jordan, then to the Azraq Desert, then to another part, and just shifted and they just got tents. Okay, so I was with Sheikh Zahir Mahmoud, and before the winter was over, 10 days ago, before winter was over, if you check Twitter from that region, it was snowing. In that region, it's snowing. Before Ramadan is coming, so we decided, let's commit to 20 container homes and literally change their lives. Literally change their lives. Sheikh Zahir was talking about keys to our house. These people living in tents. They don't even have a door. They have nothing. Some of their children at night time, when a lot of those young children, they suffer from like stress because of listening to all these drums and stuff, and they got this space. So sometimes when they have nightmares, I've seen these children at night time, they just wander away. They just wander away from the desk. And we decided with Sheikh Zahir that we're going to commit this Ramadan. Now we're going to change 20 houses. We're going to change 20 people's lives. Okay? So that's why we're here. So I'm getting quite emotional because we were there. We saw the situation. So I'm not gonna take more of your time. We're here. We're committed to 20. We've got about seven commitments left. It takes 12 days for it to get completed. And what we'll do is, if you make a pledge today, even if we do not get the funds before Ramadan or during Ramadan, we'll start the work. Okay, when the work is started, if you contact me and say, Brother Suhail, I want to come with you for the key handover, you're more than welcome. We'll facilitate all of that for you, okay? So whoever's ready to make a commitment for one container home, which is 3,500, you can get together as a family, you can get together as 7 friends, only 500 pennies. We'll give you the gift bright links, we'll give you all the information you need to fundraise amongst yourself. But is there anybody who wants to commit to one container home? So put your hand up. What's your next step? Okay. But then do you want to just give the donation stuff? Dr. Jalal, the sister there, the first person who's committed to building a container home, which will change the life of one family in the desert. Do you want to say some words there?
Allah, subhanallah. My sister. Peygamber Efendimiz buyuruyor ki, hayırda yarışanları müjdele, onlar benim en hakiki ümmetlerimden.
Our prophet tells us that tell my followers that whoever races to fundraise or give,
whoever fundraises or races to make donations and help others, they're one of my first in the Ummah. That makes sense.
Ve biz de inşallah oradan dönüşü Türkiye'ye gelirlerse biz de hanımla ağırlamak isteriz.
And on the return from if you do go to give the keys, on your return from the border, we would like to have you as a guest with my wife.
Sadece bacımız için değil, kim buradan bir konteyner alırsa, Suriye'ye gidip konteyneri teslim ederse, değil mi? İstanbul'a üzerinden geldiğinde ben ağlayacağım.
Not just the sister there, but whoever here commits and actually goes and gives the key themselves on the way back. If you stop over at Istanbul, I'm really happy to welcome you to my home and have you as a guest.
Hadi hayırda yarışın.
Wow, that's a wonderful. So who's ready for the second one? Who's ready for the second container home? You're literally going to be changing lives, and you know, what's that? Where's the sister there? Can you give the phone to that sister there, please?
Ben Suriye'ye birçok defa gittim. İdlib'e ve Suriye'nin her noktasına.
I've been to many parts of Syria. I've been to Syria many times as well.
So he's been to Syria many times, into every point of it as much as he can.
Size şahit olduğum birkaç şey anlatabilir miyim?
I would like to explain what I've witnessed, a few of what I've witnessed.
Bir yetimhaneye gittik.
I went to an orphanage.
Ufacık çocuklar, 3-4 yaşlarında.
Little kids, 3-4 years old.
Sarıldılar.
They all came and hugged me.
Babam olur musun?
Would you like to be my father? They said.
Beni bırakma, beni de götür.
Don't leave me here and take me as well.
Bana baba ol, sana ne istersen yaparım dedi.
Please be a father to me and I'll do whatever you want.
Sana baba diyebilir miyim diyor.
Can I call you a father? These kids are saying.
Anlatacak çok bir şey yok.
There's not much to explain.
Siz ahirette Peygamber Efendimiz Hazreti Muhammed Mustafa sallallahu aleyhi ve sellemin yüzüne nasıl bakacaksınız? Hepimiz nasıl bakacağız?
How would you look into the face of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the hereafter?
Başka bir örnek daha vereyim.
And I'll give another example.
Bir çadıra girdik.
I went into a tent.
Ama çadıra gidemiyoruz. Niye biliyor musunuz?
I can't go into the tent. Do you know why?
Şurası şuraya kadar balçık.
There's a lot of sort of
Balçık, çamur, ağır çamur.
there's a lot of mud. It's like a swamp where you can't even step through. So just to get to the tent,
Rüzgardan çadır devrilecek Ocak ayı.
it's the month of January, and because of the wind, the tent is literally just about to
Benim
fly.
üstümde 3-4 kıyafet var
I've got 3-4 layers of clothes on me,
ve ben üşüyorum.
and I'm freezing.
Çadıra bir girdik.
And I went into the tent,
Ufacık çocuklar, ayaklar çıplak.
and there's tiny little kids, bare feet, and they're shivering like this.
Bizi görünce çantalarımıza baktılar. Yemek var mı? Direkt yemek var mı?
And as
Açız.
soon as they came in, they just looked at their bags and asked if there's any food. We're hungry.
Dedim ki o Müslüman bu durumdayken ben kendime nasıl Müslüman diyebilirim?
And what I said to myself is, while that Muslim is in that situation, how can I call myself a Muslim?
Annelere
Mothers.
bir kadın düşünün.
Think of a mother. Think of a woman.
Çocuğunu emzirirken
While she's breastfeeding her child,
soğuktan anne ve çocuğu donuyor.
while she's breastfeeding her child, the mother and the baby freezes. And they die.
Biz hangi yıldayız?
What year are we in?
2022'de böyle şeylerin olması sizce bu bizim suçumuz değil mi?
In the year of 2022, don't you think it's our fault that these things still happen?
Oysa ki biz ayakkabı beğenmeyiz, yenisi olsun. Elbise daha büyük marka olsun. Bu çok ucuz, bu kötü. Beğenmiyoruz değil mi?
While we're here just picking out clothes because, oh, that doesn't look nice, oh, that's not expensive enough, that's not a great brand, and that's not pretty.
Bir kahvaltı sofrasını düşünün. 40 çeşit menü.
Think of a breakfast table, there's plenty, about 40 different menus.
Ama onlar bir çeşidi bulsunlar elhamdülillah diyor.
But they're trying to find one choice, and when they find that one choice of food, they're saying, alhamdulillah.
Benim size bir kardeş tavsiyem var.
I'd like to give an advice as a brother to you.
Daha iyi mümin, daha iyi anne baba, daha iyi gelecekte bir çocuk, bir genç olmak istiyor musun?
Would you like to be a better mu'min? Would you like to be a better mother, father? Would you like to be a better person in the future?
Lütfen bir gece Suriyelilerle beraber o çadırlarda kalın.
Please, just one night, stay in those tents with the Syrians.
O zaman anlayacaksınız ki
And then you'll understand that.
ben nasıl Müslümanım?
You'll think, what sort of Muslim am I?
Bugün hayırda yarışma vakti.
Today is a day to raise some donation.
Yüce Allah bizleri kardeşimle buraya 10.000 kilometreden niye gönderdi?
Allah has sent me and my brother here for thousands of kilometers away.
O yetim çocukların babalarını, sizleri manevi babaları olmanızı rica etmeniz için.
He sent us here so that we can request you to be the family, the father of those kids that I've explained about earlier.
Eğer sizler manevi baba, manevi anne, manevi kardeş, abi olmazsanız
If you can't be a father, brother, sister, sibling, mother to those kids, then
maalesef o çocuklar ya donarak ölecek ya da art niyetli ismini vermek istemiyorum. Bazı grupların eline düşecek.
they're either going to freeze to death or they're going to be taken advantage of certain groups.
Ve bir daha Müslüman olduklarını da bilemeyeceğiz.
And we're never going to know if they're ever going to be a Muslim again.
Sizin buna içiniz sığıyor mu?
Do you feel content with this?
Ha şunu da söyleyeyim. Beni yanlış anlamayın. Tabii işte 10 sterlin, 10 sterlin, işte 20 sterlin pound. Okey, good, güzel. Lakin lazım.
Don't get me wrong, you know, 10
Eğer
pounds,
gücün
15
varsa
pounds here and there.
Allah yolunda vermekten neden korkuyorsun?
If you have the opportunity to, then why are you scared to give in the way of Allah?
Allah sana verirken bol verdi.
When Allah's given to you, He's being really generous.
Sen Allah'ın garip kullarına,
But what you're giving to the needy, you know, what the needy is just, you know, little changes.
yani bu Müslümana yakışır mı?
Does this suit us being a Muslim?
Büyükler, sizler küçüklere örnek olacaksınız. Aha size fırsat.
The elders, you're here to be an example to the young generation, and here's your opportunity.
Hadi bugün Efendimiz sallallahu aleyhi ve sellemin izinde giden bir mümin neslin ilk çırasını oluşturduğu gün olsun.
And let this day be the day where anyone who's going into the path, going on the path of us, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, let this day be the day where you're actually taking that path, taking the first step on that path.
Kaç konteyner bekliyordun?
5 left from the 20 comes. So we had 7 before we came, 7 left. So we got 2, we just got 5 left. So.
5 tane kalmış şimdi.
20'ye 5 mi?
Evet. Buraya
Hadi
gelmeden 7'ydi.
son 10 konteyner.
20'den 5 tane lazım şu an. 7 lazımdı.
Sayı hatırladın mı?
We can increase it, but we can't finish it off in Ramadan, so we have to do it after Ramadan.
Ramazan önce
Ha, 5 tane kaldı.
5 tane Ramazan'dan önce yapalım.
Son 5.
Last 5
Son 5.
before Ramadan. We've got a week.
So one container home is 3,500. So I forgot to mention a lot of things. So the project is completely zakatable. So you can give zakat in kind. So the container homes are donated to those families that are eligible to receive zakat. It's 3,500. It's got a small kitchen. It's got a small bathroom. It's got a water tap at the top, electrical outlets, and it takes approximately 12 to 13 days to complete the construction of it. And once it's done, we hand over the keys. 3 containers.
Allah'a. Son 2.
Last 2.
Tüm arkada da var galiba. Finish.
I think so. 3. So can somebody help me with that?
Okay.
So 3, 4, 5. I think we're last.
Var mı? Başka? Söz alalım. Söz alalım. Ramazan sonrası için söz alalım. Fazla olursa.
And if there's any more as well, this is for after Ramadan too.
So the 20 we can complete inside Ramadan. So I think we've gone over, haven't we now?
Alhamdulillah.
So if we've gone over, alhamdulillah, there's 47,000 refugees in Jordan. Okay, so inshallah, after that we'll continue it after Ramadan, and even after Ramadan,
sure,
you can come. So I don't know how many, what number we're on, but if we've gone over the first 20, I'm going to so 7 that we came here for, then we completed Ramadan, and after that we'll continue doing them, inshallah. Okay, so I think the brother is just giving the forms out. So if you've got your hand up, you give it to you, inshallah.
İnşallah. Şimdi olmaz o için değil. Söyle.
If you want to, but and we've reached our target for today.
So what's the thing?
He wants to continue.
He wants to continue. That's you're the charity person.
No. I only had 5 minutes. I've got over.
Okay. Yeah, so we've got 7 containers from, mashallah, our parents and also our
Ya
local area.
bence peki insanlar bu vermek istiyor. İstediği kadar alalım. Ramazan son yaktı.
He said, as there's generous people here, they want to give, let's accept.
Absolutely.
5 tane daha ilave ediyoruz.
5 more. We want 5 more
Bakın
people.
Allah'ın izniyle siz bir yetimin evini yaparsanız Allah da inşallah size cennette bir ev verir belki.
If you give someone else a home, then you never know, maybe Allah will give you a home in Jannah in heaven.
So I've just been informed that if you guys
Allahu Ekber. Eyvallah. Şükran.
So
Eyvallah.
if you want to
Cezakallah.
donate small amount, that these guys will collect it and then put it together to make one. So if you've got cash today, there's buckets at the back. So you can contribute and then we can collect it all. And when we've reached 3,500, then that's another one.
Evet.
So you can contribute any amount.
Son 3 dakika.
Last 3
Evet.
last 3 minutes.
Hadi bismillah,
Okay.
bismillah, bismillah. Allah için vermekte titremeyin. Eliniz titremesin.
Don't let your hand shake before Allah.
Bir kaybınız var mı? Bir düşünün.
You don't have any loss if you.
Ne kaybedeceksiniz?
You've got nothing to lose.
O çocuklar sıcak eve geldiği zaman yapacağı duayı düşünün.
Think of the dua that those children
Karnı
make when
doyduğu
they're
zaman
coming to a
size
warm home.
gözyaşıyla yapacakları duayı düşünün.
And think about duas they'll make when they have a full stomach.
Ve o insanların imanını kurtarmış olacaksınız.
And you actually be saving their iman.
Başka gruplar o insanlara gitmeyecek.
So that no one else can take advantage of them.
İnşallah o çocuklar, o yetimler sizi cennete götürür. Amin.
Inshallah, those orphans, those people in need would take you to Jannah.
Var mı? Evet, başka.
Any more?
Hayırda yarışalım. Var mı başka gönülden hayır yapmak isteyen kardeşimiz?
Let's complete, let's raise, donating.
Allah'a hamdolsun. 10.000 kilometreden gelme sebebimiz bu işte.
Thanks to Allah. This is the reason why we come from 10,000 kilometers away.
Lütfen bu fakir kardeşinize de dua edin.
And please pray for me as well.
Allah razı olsun. Allah bless.
May Allah bless you. Cool.
I think we do question and answers now. And then I don't think we need to go down with buckets. We don't have
So I just want to say I'm really taken aback by the audience and how generous the Ummah is. So I'd like to say, Jazakallahu khairan, especially to those who have given not only one container but multiple containers. So may Allah reward you. Your reward is with Allah. There's nothing we can do, anyone can do that can, in any way whatsoever reward you fully in this world. For those who have signed up for the container, if you could, inshallah, later on see the brother over here is going to stand up, he'll be outside. So by our store, if you could come and see them for further details, etc., any questions, they will be outside whilst we're taking some photos. And also, if you want to give whatever amount, there is a bucket coming around. If you don't have any cash, but you have a card, I think they have a card machine ready as well, so that's possible as well, inshallah. Okay, so we don't have card machines yet, but what we will do, I will send an email out to everyone who attended. We can potentially give you a link where you can make further payments, inshallah, and Allah is always watching. So we are running out of time. There are a few questions, there's a lot of questions. I will keep it to absolute minimum. We have spoken about faith, we've spoken about Iman, we've spoken about raising for the Ummah. So we will take some questions, especially from students and children. And at that point, in about 10 minutes, we will start hacking away. There is a strict procedure on how we're going to do the pictures because we want to do everyone within 25 minutes. And I think that is possible. I will explain how that's going to happen. But before that, let's get some questions from our audience. So I will take some of these questions, especially the ones that have more likes. I will go with them. And by the time we get to 4 o'clock, we will stop at that point, inshallah. So if you keep the responses, I will ask a question and then. Okay, so the first question that's had priority is, did any of the cast? So the first question is.
Ottoma. Alp, maşallah. Eyvallah.
So one question from the audience is, did any of the cast revert to Islam? So did anyone who was not a Muslim and they were acting, did any convert to Islam?
Ekibin içinde Müslüman olmayan birisi var mıydı? Müslüman olmayan ama diziye başladıktan sonra Müslüman olan, İslam kabul eden var mıydı hiç böyle ekipten?
Hatırlamıyorum ya.
From what he's aware, everyone in the crew was a Muslim.
Okay.
Bir tane Türk kökenli olup da dedesi Yahudi olan biri vardı ama bir iki bölüm oynadı.
Ha, yok. Ha, ama şey. No, they were all Muslim.
Okay. Second question that's here is, was it your choice to play the parts you play in the series, or were your parts chosen for you?
Aldığınız roller yani sizin istediğiniz rol müydü yoksa size verilen rol müydü diye soruyorum.
Yani bize verilen rollerdi ama şikayetçi değiliz elhamdülillah.
It was a role that was given to me, but I'm not complaining, alhamdulillah. However, but Emre here, he actually worked really hard for 2 years before getting the role, and he actually did get the role. So he went for the role and he got it in the end.
Okay, the next question. So there are some which I'm going to just bypass, and the next one is, what was the most fun thing you did whilst on set?
Kuzu taşıma. Sırtımıza kuzu taşıma.
Carrying lamb on our shoulders.
Biraz kopyadan alıştık.
A little, but we got used to it in the end.
Aksiyon sahneleri.
It was the action scenes that Emre enjoyed quite a lot.
Mashallah. The next question is one of my favorite questions. How hard was it to learn archery for both of you?
Bir tanesi diyor, ok atmayı, ne kadar zordu ok atmayı öğrendim.
Önce abi siz sonra
Yani ok atmak, ben daha çok tokatçıydım.
I was more of a slapper.
Tabii okçuluk ya, ok attığımız da oldu ama ok gerçekten çok keyifli. Hiç zor değil. Tavsiye ederim. Ki maşallah yapıyorsun.
Yes, we did do archery as well. I was a slapper, but it's actually really fun, and I would advise everyone to do it as well. But you are anyway here in the academy.
Okay. The next question is to
Emre.
sorry, Emre.
Emre actually went into lessons for that.
Oh yes, actually.
Ben bir yıl boyunca ok kullandım.
I actually did bow and arrow lessons for about a year.
Ve ok atmak en eğlenceli kısım çünkü silah kullanmak gibi değil, kalpten geliyor.
Throwing an arrow is actually it's not like having a gun and just sort of aiming and pressing the trigger in a way, but it's actually coming from your heart. So it's like you're aiming and you're letting it go. So it's more fun than a gun, basically.
The next question is to Abdur Rahman Al. We all witnessed the horrendous amount of torture you endured at the hands of Noyan, and yet you remained loyal to Ertugrul and the tribe. Where did you get such patience and resolve?
Şahit olduk Noyan'da olmaz. Zulme, orada zulme. Nasıl halinde?
Gerçek Müslüman nasıl olur? Onu göstermeye çalışıyorum.
I try to show what a real Muslim would actually do.
So I think for the next question is back to Abdur Rahman Al. So he would need to get into his Abdur Rahman, have to have his Abdur Rahman hat on here. Why didn't you poison Selcan?
Bekledim hidayete erer diye. Beklediğimiz de değilmiş.
Oh, I'll just wait. Maybe she'll just continue higher, and yeah, it was worth it. It was worth the wait.
And this for both. How quickly did you learn how to use a sword? But there's another question about horse riding as well, so we'll combine that. How quickly or how was it learning to use a sword and also horse riding?
İkiniz için soru. 2 ay sonra ama bir ilişkide nasıl, ne kadar çok öğrendiniz? Kullanmayı bir de aslında.
Yani kılıç kullanmakla at kullanmayı önceden biliyordum. Kılıcı çok iyi değildi. Ama at, yani çocukluğumdan beri kullandığım için benim için çok büyük bir avantajdı.
I always knew how to, ride a horse from childhood, and with sport, I did know it, but I wasn't as great, so I did learn more. But it was an advantage that I knew how to ride horses from childhood.
Emre?
Kılıç kullanmak, ben küçüklüğümden beri spor yaptığım için kolayca öğrenebildim.
From childhood, because I am actually into sports and I'm quite active in sports, it was actually quite easy to learn how to
Ama
work with sports.
ata binmek öyle değil.
But it's not the same with riding a horse.
Ben daha önce hiç atla koşmamıştım.
I never actually made a horse run. I don't know if there's a term for that, but yeah, making a horse run. I've never done that before.
Sete geldiğim ilk gün çok iyi hatırlıyorum.
And the first day that I came to the set, the scenes, I remember really well that
Yönetmen dedi ki hadi koş.
the director said run.
Dedim ben daha önce hiç bilmiyorum, yapamam yani.
He was like, I've never done it before. I can't do it. I can't do it. I don't know.
Dedi ki burası Diriliş Ertuğrul, yapacaksın dediler.
He said, this is Diriliş Ertuğrul. You're going to have to do it.
Allah'a şükür yaptık ama nasıl bilmiyorum.
And thanks to Allah, I did it, but I don't know how I did it.
Eyvallah.
Okay, the next question is for Emre, so young Uthman. How have you been able to study or complete your studies?
Senin için soruyorum. Eğitimi nasıl tamamladığını, nasıl devam ettiğini.
Setle beraber.
Nasıl?
Lise 1'deydim ben Diriliş Ertuğrul'da. Şu an 4.
In Diriliş Ertuğrul, he was in high school year 1.
Ve uyuyamıyordum.
Then he was in year 1, and now he's in year 4. I mean, high school year 4. It's his last year. He wasn't able to sleep.
Çünkü set bittikten sonra derslerim de ağırdı.
Because after the set finishes, he would go on to trying to study because it's hard. I mean, the studies were really overwhelming as well.
Yani yine çok çalışıyoruz ama o zaman daha fazla çalışıyoruz.
It's still overwhelming now. It's really hard now, but at that time it was more difficult.
Ve 2 ay sonra da inşallah okulu bitireceğim.
And inshallah, 2 months later, he's actually going to complete his studies and he's going to finish school.
İnşallah.
We have a round of mashallah.
School isn't yeah, like he's not gone to school for a week.
So Brother Sohail is saying that for this week, because Emre is with us, his schooling has been on hold for 1 week. So once again, Jazakallah for this cause. So many children will be able to get a school in Syria for your hard work and your sacrifice and your struggle for acting, but also studying as well. So mashallah. The next question is for both. What Turkish football team do you both support?
Sizce?
What do you think? The Fenerbahçe here?
Fenerbahçe.
Fenerbahçe, because
Ya ben şimdi takım söylersem yanlış olur, takip edemiyorum ama Galatasaray diyebilirim.
I am as well, don't worry. He was born as a Galatasaray supporter. Right now he's not following football, so he can't really say a team. But I would say Galatasaray. I'm a supporter of Galatasaray. I am.
Türkiye'de ise Manchester United.
Vay da.
But if it's in UK, then it's Man United.
I'm a Liverpool fan.
Liverpool?
Right, the next question is a very interesting one, and we will be finishing in the next couple of minutes. And this is for both. Did acting in Ertugrul help you become closer to Allah?
Elhamdülillah. Zaten kardeşim de ben de aile olarak İslami gelenekleri yaşayan insanlarız. Biz kendimizce diziye bir şeyler katmaya çalıştık. Tabii diziden de güzel aldığımız şeyler var ama biz Diriliş Ertuğrul önce neyse aynı şekilde diriliş ve sonrasında aynıyız. Elhamdülillah.
So prior to Diriliş Ertuğrul, we have been raised as a Muslim anyway, and we had the same, good Muslim. Sorry, let me start that again. We were raised rightly, as right as we can say, as a Muslim prior to Diriliş Ertuğrul, and after Diriliş Ertuğrul, nothing has changed. I'm still the same Muslim. That's from Abdur Rahman and Osman.
Diriliş Ertuğrul benim hayatımı tamamen değiştirdi diyebilirim.
I can say that Diriliş Ertuğrul has changed my life completely.
Müslüman bir ailede doğdum çok şükür.
I was raised in a Muslim family, alhamdulillah.
Ama Diriliş Ertuğrul'dan sonra gerçekten neler olduğunu görmem gerekti ve araştırmak istedim.
But after Diriliş Ertuğrul, I did want to research more and see what happened.
Ve dolayısıyla bunu kalpten söylüyorum.
And I'm saying this from my heart, from the bottom of my heart.
İslam'a sonradan girenlerin neden daha iyi Müslüman olduklarını anladım.
I can say that I now understand why reverts or people or brothers and sisters that have joined Islam later actually has a stronger connection to the religion than the Muslim-born ones.
İbn Farabi'nin bir sözü vardı.
Ibn Arabi has saying. Farabi, sorry.
Farabi değil.
Farabi.
Ibn Farabi has a phrase, a sentence, a saying.
Eğer yumurta dışarıdan kırılırsa hayat biter.
If an egg gets broken from the outside, the life ends.
Eğer yumurta içeriden kırılırsa hayat başlar.
But if the egg is cracked from the inside, then that's when life begins.
Diriliş Ertuğrul benim için yumurtanın içeriden kırılmasıydı.
Diriliş Ertuğrul, for me, it was like cracking the egg from the inside.
Ve ailelere ve gençlere seslenmek istiyorum. Lütfen yumurtanızı içeriden kırın.
And I'm asking you all, the elders especially, crack the egg from the inside, not the outs.
Teşekkür ederim.
Thank you.
I'm just going to do the last three questions. A very quick one is, from an inquisitive mind, what was the blood made out of?
Donun kan neydi? Maddesi neydi?
Reçel.
Jam.
Özel bir karışım. Reçelimsi bak.
It's like jam. There is a specific formula to it, but it's basically jam.
Second question is for Emre. So, Emre, how did it feel to play the first Ottoman Sultan in history?
Hissettim.
Nasıl hissettin? Hani tarihteki ilk Osmanlı oynamak sana nasıl hissettin?
Öncelikle Osman çok ağır bir karakterdi.
Osman himself, it was a really heavy character.
Ve elimden gelenin en iyisini yapmaya çalıştım.
And I did whatever I can, from the best of my ability.
Ama tabii iş sadece Diriliş Ertuğrul'la bitmedi.
But it wasn't just about within the Diriliş Ertuğrul.
4 yıl oldu ama hala Osman gibi olmaya çalışıyor.
It's been 4 years, but I'm still trying to be the real Osman. If that makes sense. He's still been studying, he's still been researching, so there's more to it.
Yani ağır bir sorun.
It's a heavy responsibility. I think so.
And over to our last question. Actually, it's a request. And then I will just go through the procedure of how we are going to take pictures. We only have about 20 minutes. So the last request is, can you get the audience to say Allahu Akbar like in Ertugrul a few times.
Soruları var, istek. Şimdi misafirlere Ertuğrul ve onlarla böyle edebilir misiniz? And mesela Celal abi can do it better than me.
Şöyle yapalım. Şimdi ben tekbir deyip kardeşim bizim hani Ertuğrul abi gibi Allah'a ekber deyip yurdarsın.
He said, let me say takbir, and then our brother here can start to say Allahu Akbar, just like how Ertuğrul does.
You're a great communist,
Tekbir!
Allahu Akbar!
Tekbir!
Allahu Akbar!
Tekbir!
Allahu Akbar!
Haydi Allah!
Hakkı Allah!
Haydi Allah!
Hakkı Allah!
Haydi Allah!
Hakkı Allah!
Eyvallah!
Okay, so we have come to the end of the session, and we did have a lot of requests also on the questions to be able to take pictures. So I'm going to explain the procedure. We're going to show you a quick example, a demo of how it's going to work. We would not want a lot of crowding around here. It's not safe. So please do follow the procedure very, very closely. But before I explain that, I wanted to take this last couple of minutes to say Jazakallahu khairan. Thank you to our two guests all the way from Turkey. Jazakallah for bringing our guests. Jazakallahu khairan.
Bizler için, buraya geldiğiniz için her birinize teşekkür ederiz. Ayaklarınıza sağlık. Kırdıysak, incittiysek affedin. Hakkınızı helal edin.
He said, thank you very much to each and every single one of you. May Allah give help to your feet that brought you here. And, you know, forgive us if we've said or done anything to upset, hurt, or offend you. Thank you.
Okay, so inshallah, we are going to have 20 minutes to take pictures. The way it's going to work is, you're going to come as a family, you'll sit on the sofas here. Each family is going to get 30 seconds, and then we are going to ask you to move on. We can't really have questions because we've had the questions, so now it's just about taking pictures besides the two. The way it's going to work is on that side, we're going to have Ustad Mohsin. Could you put your hand up, please? Okay, perfect. So what's going to happen is we're going to start from that side. That section will go and line up behind the green line over there. Okay, so Ustad Mohsin will guide you. You're going to do this as a family, so you're going to come together, but not yet. Once I've explained, you're going to sit beside, take a picture. Now, how is the picture going to work? When you're standing by Brother Mohsin, there will be someone, so Ustad Dawood, if you come and stand over there, he will be the camera taker. So he's going to take your phone and he's going to transport it to Ustad Zainab, who is our poet. And if you put your hand up there, so he will pass the phone to Ustad Zainab. She will take about 3 pictures. Okay, that should be enough. And then we have Ustad Ismail over here. He's the second phone transporter who will transport it to you, and he will give it back to you here. And then we'll go outside into the Agora, inshallah. So it's going to be like this. So make sure that you unlock your phone and make sure it's set on the camera for our Ustad over here to transport it to Ustad Zainab, and then she will, inshallah, pass it back to Ustad Ismail, who will pass it back to you here. So we're going to do 30 seconds per family. So inshallah, if we can only have that side, if your family members are here, just make your way. Try and go backwards, so no one coming on the stage, okay? So if you want to go around that side, use the back part of the stage. So can we get that side first, just lining up behind Brother Mohsin, and once we give you, She's going to speak about that. Yes, let's move this. Yeah, just stay, the rest of you, if you can stay seated, unless you're going to get the pictures taken. So it's going to be only 30 seconds on the sofa. We've got to get this done within 20 minutes, inshallah. Yeah, and no one can pass this way. It's round this way, inshallah. So sorry, you can stand there. So if you can move out, it's about the whole. Okay. Salah, are you ready? Okay. So just this right section for now, and then we'll move on slowly. Okay, we'll start Dawood, are you ready? Right, so the first family, we'll give it another 30 seconds for everyone to gather. Okay, can I just ask everyone to stop for now, and everyone else to remain seated? Can everyone else just remain seated for a minute? Let's get this group out, and then we'll get everyone else. Okay, we'll start Mohsin. Are we ready to get the first family in, inshallah? Okay, you can walk across. No. That's it. Yeah. Okay. No.
Okay, so 1, 2, and 3.
Okay, Jazakallah, can we get the next family? Do you want to put your hat on? Yeah, put it on. Yeah, absolutely.